chesticles, breasticles, the twins, the ladies, the gals, breasticles. Do I have your attention now? Fantastic. Watch this get demonetized so fast. Aloha. I have no filter, which means I often overshare on my channel, so why not continue? Something that I've never talked about on YouTube before and that I only recently talked about on my Instagram is that I live with fibrocystic breast disease, which is a condition that increases the production of benign fibroadenomas in my chest. These are essentially non-cancerous lumps and formations of tissue and different bumps here and there that form in your boobs on a much more frequent basis. But before I get into my experience, I want to talk a wee bit more about what the condition actually is. So in a normal state, boobs should not have lumps in them, whereas I have them constantly. Some of them stick around for quite a wee while. I have one over here that has been with me for, we're going on 5 years now. Still there. Some other symptoms that are quite common for fibrocystic breast disease are swelling, tenderness that might be a little bit painful, general thickening of breast tissue, so to the touch you would be able to feel that for yourself, and pain under your arms. These symptoms can worsen depending on your time of month, where you're at in your cycle, which is just another fantastically delightful biological loophole. I mean, I appreciate it. Like, women's bodies are freaking amazing, but fucking hell. The direct cause of fibrocystic breast disease, scientists have yet to actually determine, but they do know that it is related to hormone production and hormones in the body. So it is completely biological. There is no external forces that can cause you to get it. Nothing that you do or don't do in your day-to-day life can stipulate whether you get this or not. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And actually it happens a lot more than people know. It is so much more common than people know. It is estimated that around half of women between the ages of like in their 20s to their 50s will have or will get fibrocystic breast disease. Whether they experience symptoms that are to a level that it's recognisable for them and they even need to be aware or see a doctor is an entirely different story. But as I said, these lumps and formations of tissue or just little fibrous areas are completely benign. They're non-cancerous, thank God. And fibrocystic breast disease does not increase your chances of getting cancer. That's a common myth. What it can do, however, is make the detection of cancerous indicators more difficult for both you and your doctor. Basically, it means that I just need to be extra careful. I need to be very vigilant. I need to be well acquainted with my boobs. Me and my boobs, we're like that. I need to know how they look, know how they feel. I need to keep track of lumps or formations that I know I've already got so that if a new one pops up, I'm on it. But how did we get here? Hot damn. I literally remember the day. It was Sunday the 26th of April 2015. I was in the shower and I felt a lump. Do you remember that wee one that I said had been with me for 5 years? Yep. That's him. Now, I was aware of the importance of checking for lumps. I was well taught what to do, what to look for, but I'd never found one until that day. And I can remember just feeling instant dread. I can remember crying in the shower. It's quite important to establish where I was at in my own head at this point. This was less than a year after I'd lost my mum, and unbeknownst to me at this time, I was dealing with severe trauma and multiple mental health disorders that I had no idea how to cope with. So my response to finding this lump was, of course, you know, life hasn't taken enough from me and my family, so it's going to take my health and then inevitably me as well. Horrible thought process to have, horrible that that was my go-to. I was just really, really scared. It was like worst case scenario already came in my head, and that is terrifying. Of course, knowing the importance of all this, I called my GP's office the next day and I got an appointment to see her later that week, which is unfreaking heard of. I actually didn't tell anyone about the lump at all until the day before the appointment, which I'm really not sure why that was my thought process. I have no idea why I did it, but I did. At the appointment, I got a physical examination, which, yes, you do need to take your clothes off for, so top off, bra off if you're wearing one, and the doctor can examine you properly. It's really not as embarrassing as people. I love how I'm gonna be holding my breasts constantly in this video. Flag it for inappropriate content. I'll just do it under the frills of my top. What are you gonna say now, YouTube? Where's your guidelines on that? But the process of the examination is really not as embarrassing as people like assume that it's gonna be. For one, there's loads of other things going through your head. They may not be great, but it's something that makes you not think about the situation you're currently in. Your GP is really professional. They don't make it awkward. They don't do anything that's going to escalate the situation and make it uncomfortable for you. And of course, if you just keep in mind the point why you're doing it, like I was doing it to find out, was I okay? Is there something wrong? And if there is, what can I do about it? So the bigger picture really kind of came into play and helped. Very soon into the appointment, she told me that she thought I had this thing called fibrocystic breast disease. This was the first time I'd ever heard those words. Very big and medically and scary, so automatically I was like, what the heck? There were other indicators that were actually present in my chest at the time, other little formations and bumps and things like that I hadn't actually flagged as a regular. I'd only noticed this one lump. So she kind of talked me through them, told me where they were, let me feel them, and kind of educated me a wee bit on what to look for, what are indicators with tissue changes and things like that, which was just really reassuring and helpful. To be on the safe side, I was also sent for bloods, just a general blood check. They had an appointment that day, so I was able to go into the clinic straight away, get them done that afternoon. And then I was also referred to the breast clinic at the hospital for an ultrasound. Now some people might be referred for an ultrasound like I was, and other people might be referred straight for a mammogram, which is a little bit different. But instead I was just sent for an ultrasound, and then if post ultrasound they thought that a mammogram was needed, then I was going to be sent for one of them as well. It only took a couple of weeks for my referral letter to come in, and then off to the hospital after all. The process of the ultrasound, really simple, just like you've probably seen in like TV shows or movies. Same scenario, top off, bra off, gel on, and then the wee wand just kind of manoeuvred around to identify the differences between healthy tissue and the fibroadenomas that were kind of forming here and there. Going from the look of most of the formations, they didn't think it was anything really further to be done there, but given the look of this particular lump, they recommended a biopsy, which is basically where they take a little bit of the tissue from the lump and have it analysed in the lab, and then they get you your results to find out if it is cancerous or not. The biopsy was actually going to be done the same day, and again it was just to be on the safe side, so no complaints from me, and they just prepped me pretty much straight away for the biopsy procedure. Again, procedure was really basic. It was just non-invasive, so it meant it was one entrance wound into my left breast, and it was done with local anaesthetic, which meant that I was still awake. I was just numbed in that area. So they sterilised the skin, they injected the local anaesthetic, and then they set up the ultrasound again to get a better view of where the lump was, and then the needle went in. The way that the biopsy works is that it's a slightly thicker needle that goes in, and then you've got another needle that's a lot thinner that has almost like a pincer sort of mechanism that's operated by a handle at the top of the needle that goes in through that. It goes into the lump or the fibroadenoma, pinches off a little bit of tissue and pulls that out. Afterwards I was cleaned up, and I just got those little sticky stitches because it really was minimally invasive, and I was just told to like take it easy if the stitching comes off, and if I notice any sort of obvious signs of infection, as you would with any sort of break in the skin, to contact a doctor, to keep it clean, and just to don't be daft, essentially. I remember I was meant to go to diving the next day, and I asked them and they were like, you know. Jumping about doing all the gymnasticy stuff in the dry land was not going to be great, and I was springboard particularly, so I was using my arms for momentum on my hurdle step a lot. So fully extending my arms during a hurdle step, and then fully straining my arms into a grip above my head and locking out my shoulders and putting a lot of tension into my body on entrance to the water, really wasn't going to be great. So really it was just be careful, keep an eye on it, look out for signs of infection and let it heal. Luckily my results came back, and it was revealed that that little lump was a partially mobile, completely benign fibroadenoma, which means that the lump is benign, non-cancerous. It's a fibroadenoma, which means it's a collection of tissue and cells, and the partially mobile bit means that this little guy, he moves around a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like when you think you're feeling him, oh no, off he goes. I actually have another one up here that I've had for a little while, but it's completely immobile. It does not move, it just stays there, whereas this little guy likes to shimmy shake. Typically speaking, that's all that happens. There's no further action that really needs to be taken from that diagnosis. Most formations or fibroadenomas will either just be there and cause no other bother, or they'll just gradually disintegrate and go back to doing their own tissue thing. However, if lumps or formations do get painful, uncomfortable, or bigger, your doctor will probably recommend seeing them again, and you may be referred to get them removed. Pretty sure it was roughly like 6 months after my biopsy, this lump started to get bigger, noticeably bigger, to the point where it made certain movements uncomfortable. Lying on my left side was uncomfortable because I could really feel it. I spoke to my doctor and we decided that we would wait and see if this sort of uncomfortableness and the swelling in it would regulate with my menstrual cycle. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and I was referred back to be examined by ultrasound again, and looking at the size of it, they basically said, we're going to watch it for a little bit. If there's no improvement, it will be a minor surgery to have it removed. Thankfully, that didn't happen. It didn't need to happen. The swelling went down. There's been no issues with it since, and it is still with me to this day. Since then, I have had 3 hospital appointments for various fibroadenomas, and I've had 4 biopsy samples taken in total, all of which have come back as benign, and they've caused me no bother over the years, and I've not had any need for minor surgeries. And that's pretty much it. I just felt that because October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and because I've recently kind of opened up about this a little bit on my Instagram, if I was ever going to make a video talking about it, now would be the time. So there you go. I'm hoping that you enjoyed getting more acquainted with my boobs. That's as far as you're going to get. I'm sorry. The moral is, ladies, please take care of your boobs. Self-examine frequently, and if you are in the age bracket required by the NHS or recommended by the NHS, make sure that you're attending your mammogram appointments. If you're elsewhere in the world, just make sure that you're adhering to whatever advice that you're given by your healthcare service, and you are actively taking care of your own health and keeping an eye on them, because you're worth the time, you're worth the effort. If you notice anything that's unusual, anything that you're not sure about, please see your doctor. There is no daft question when it comes to your own health and your own well-being, and a simple appointment really can make all the difference. Realistically, it's either going to be reassuring you that there is nothing wrong and no further action needs to be taken, or confirmation that yes, there's something not right and here's what we can then do. You're completely worth the time, you're completely worth the effort to check. And remember that if you have been diagnosed with fibrocystic breast disease, to be extra vigilant. Obviously, if you need advice or any sort of information about any of this, my first recommendation would be to seek the advice of a doctor. But I will leave some links that I've found for information about fibrocystic breast disease as a condition, about biopsies, about self-examinations, and of course about breast cancer. So if there's anything that you just feel like it would be good to know a little bit about, then maybe those links will be helpful. But as I said, if there's anything further that you're looking for, or you're looking for some reassurance, or you think that there may be something that you need to see your doctor about, please consult them. And that is the story about my boobs, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Coming to a cinema near you. But as always, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time. If you found it informative, helpful, funny and random at points, give it a big one of these. I also want to give a quick wee shout out to those of you who follow me on social media, those of you who were really reassuring on my post about this on my Instagram, and of course to my YouTube channel members. Thank you very much for supporting me, for allowing me to continue to do what I do. I'm hoping that now I'm a lot more settled in my new place, that I'm gonna have more things coming for you guys. So thank you very much for your patience and for your support, as always. Really appreciate it. But if you would like to see more stuff from me, I will put a playlist or video or something, or a combination of the two over here. Links to social medias where you can follow me and stay up to date are in the description. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. But other than that, much love you guys, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you very soon. Bye!